after the Second World War. Well, how did the Second World War come? You know, they had Jewish Holocaust where they killed about over 6 million Jews. Somebody said that there's like the world, God punished the world for killing Jews and threw them into World War. So they had Second World War. So what that Second World War did was that when people that were colonized by Britain, after that war, they moved closer to Britain, and some of our people looked and said, so these Igbo people, they can pass gas? Even their shit smells the way our own they smell too. We thought they were gods and they were coming. You were like, oh, really? That's when it dawned on them that they were actually slaves in their own land. And people began to ask for independence. So you see, around that time, that's when, if you check all the independence of all the countries, it's 50-something, 60-something in Africa and all that. So people started asking for their independence. And then British Empire began to collapse. The head. So you heard when they mentioned what happened in 1956, when Egypt decided to nationalize the Suez Canal, which Britain for the longest time say is international canal. Something that belongs to somebody else. He says it's Commonwealth and it belongs to international. It's no more your own. What is in your father's land, the tree in your father's land, not in your father's, it's not your tree anymore. It's British tree and it's international tree. And it belongs to Commonwealth. And Britain will have the only right to come and steal it and take it. So when Egypt did that, they gave Britain 12 hours to vacate. In the last hour, what did Britain do? Invaded Cairo, attacked 5 major cities in Egypt, and then destroyed so many things. So this trouble continued. People are coming. So the empire went into disarray. Everyone taking their independence. So they started collapsing and everything. As a result, the British elites, like we said, okay, what do? We need to build another empire, because it was colonialism. We told you people that this whole thing started with slave trade, then colonialism. Then when colonialism came down, that World War and everything, they now brought what you call neocolonialism. So that neocolonialism is the modern financial power that the British elites created. You can see here in the video, they tell you they will be doing something somewhere else and tell you that, okay, it's this or it's not that. The more you look, the less you see. They transformed everything. Everybody was like, we are fighting slave trade. We are fighting colonialism. What are we even dealing with now? We're even poorer. Some people are even saying, hey, let the white man come back and colonize us. It's like the independence didn't work. Yes, they transformed it from colonialism to neocolonialism, which is financial colonialism, oh my goodness. Whew, let me not talk too much.
It's overwhelming, my sister. It's overwhelming. I like when they mentioned that the young kids that are inside us are joining the violence.
Yes.
As if what they are doing to them is not violent. Is their own. Oh, they killed the British army. They killed 2 of them. And then these young people are joining the violence. And the US came and said, oh, we need to stop this injustice. The only reason why US showed up is because they were trying to grow their dollar. Yes. They didn't care about justice. They didn't care about helping the people. They wanted to see how dollar can overtake the sterling pounds. So they figured if they lose all these colonial territories that they have, then they will be on a fall footing. So listen very well. You can see that these are 2 Robinson or 2 Robin Hoods, Ndori, yes, criminals, you know, for lack of better words, coming together to do their own biddings, and they do not have anybody at heart but their empire and what else they can steal from the indigenous peoples. So we'll continue the video. Hopefully they won't run to commercial.
Of trust companies, banks, etc., which in most cases would be no more than brass plates manipulating assets outside the islands, does not get out of hand. There is, of course, no objection to their providing bolt holes for non-residents, but we need to be sure that in so doing, opportunities are not created for the transfer of UK capital to the non-sterling area outside UK rules.
these small territories, the last remnants of the British Empire, which are still overseas territories today, they are still the last remnants of the British Empire. There are 14 of these overseas territories. 7 of them are bona fide tax havens, including the Cayman Islands, Bermuda, the British Virgin Islands. Some of the biggest tax havens in the world today are still British.
With access to large amounts of offshore money, the euro market grew rapidly. By 1980, it had reached $500 billion. By 1988, $4.8 trillion. And by 1997, nearly 90% of all international loans were made through this market. The British Empire had sunk, leaving hardly a trace behind. But the City of London adapted and survived. The City of London, London's financial district, is a peculiar place. It has been called a city within a city, a state within a state. It is run by an organisation called the City of London Corporation, a private company that performs all the functions of a local council, with a private police force and private courts.
Those of you who aren't from the UK, some of you even who are, might not be aware just how weird a thing the little City of London is within the big London.
The Prime Minister after the Second World War had something to say about the City of London Corporation.
He did,
so,
yeah.
Yes.
So over and over again, we have seen that there is in this country another power than that which has its seat at Westminster. The City of London, a convenient term for a collection of financial interests, is able to assert itself against the government of the country. Those who control money can pursue a policy at home and abroad contrary to that which has been decided by the people.
At the heart of the City of London stands the Bank of England. The Bank of England is not just a central bank, it is also a financial regulator. At the demise of empire, the Bank of England used this regulatory authority to help attract the world's banks to London. In 1972, the Bank of England issued a license to the Bank of Credit and Commerce International, which set up its head office in London. Within 10 years, BCCI grew into the 7th largest bank in the world. 10 years later, BCCI was bankrupt.
The Deputy Director of the CIA, Richard Kerr, said late today that the CIA did use BCCI to support CIA activities overseas.
Let's talk about what happens when there is bankruptcy. You know, it's a matter of somebody stealing all the money and now they are bankrupt. Nobody's accountable for anything anymore. That's basically what they're saying. So if your money got swallowed during that time, you're on your own. If you disappear during that time, you're on your own. Nobody's accountable. Bankruptcy means there's nothing for you to gain back. So what they do, they will go, when you can see, we will show you guys some information on how JP Morgan, you know, people, oh yeah, they made money. These people are busy stealing money everywhere they can find it. They wouldn't even mind. So what is the big deal? I steal 7.4 billion and then you tax me or you fine me 20 million. What the hell? I'll write you the check because I have 7.70 billion somewhere. You will see, go online and search settlement by JP Morgan. It's mind-blowing. And the only reason why they're able to do that is because they're taking money that doesn't belong to them, that doesn't have anything to do with their businesses, money that are considered, they call it error and omissions, where it's not accountable, whether it's coming from drugs, it's coming from corrupt governments in Africa. They will just take it. When they get caught, whatever million they charge them, even billions, there's ones that they settle billions. But when you think about it, they stole trillions. So that billion is nothing to them. It's like when you have $10,000 and somebody is asking you for a dime. You can see that how that easy to give away. Go ahead, my sister.
Thank you so much, my sister. Somebody will say, so how does this come to us? Yes, it comes to you because all your resources have been stolen.
All of it.
That's what we keep telling you, that the poverty in Africa, the poverty in Nigeria is man-made. Everything that you own everything that your children should be used to build hospitals for your children, to build schools for children. So I said, oh, the colonial masters, they brought the hospital for us. That's where TCBI where is he? Only mommy water. They give you peanuts and they take the entire thing. And you are celebrating with the peanut. Meanwhile, the entire thing belongs to you. Can't you see, my people? Can't you see what has happened? You are busy fighting your brothers and sisters, fighting your ancestors. As you're doing, church people and religious people are coming from that side. Some are worshiping mommy water. As we are saying that people should stop bowing down to idols from Europe. Our people, because they must look for something to worship, they turn to water to go and start bowing down to whatever spirit that is coming from water. We're getting feedback from our people, said our people, they left church, they now entered another one. Must you look for something to bow down to? Undibai, must you look for something to bow to? Can't you just sit down and relax and let your brain come down? As they're doing that one, they're going into drugs. Can't you just sit down and recollect your brain? So we're saying that this mass poverty that is making our people to make the wrong decisions, do all the things politicians are doing one side, religious leaders are doing one other side, because all these were partners in this crime against humanity. This is where it started. Colonial stronghold. When you understand this, you will stop fighting your ancestors. You stop fighting your brothers and sisters. Yoruba will stop fighting Igbo. Igbo will stop fighting Ijo. Ijo will stop fighting Irobo. Anywhere you see ethnic fight, please tell them to stop. They are fighting the wrong enemy. Your brother is not your enemy. See your enemy here. Here. So first they proclaim pounds as the superior currency. Everybody must buy in pounds. When they're tired, they bring dollar. And this is the game they are playing from one place to the other. We're talking about British offshore financial world. So they're all connected under the table. On top, you see JP Morgan doing their bidding. But if you go under the table, you see where they are all connected. Financial system, banking system, taxing system. You hear tax havens. Interest system. Meanwhile, in our culture, when you lend money to someone, you don't put interest because the person is already poor. You now put 25% interest, the person will never make it. Colonial loan system. All these things create poverty. And that is why we are where. Let's continue. We'll tie it together at the end for you.